morning. We are Mateo Santiago. We are going to explain you about the typical flat glass production of the industry. Of the content, first we are going to explain all the raw materials that are needed to produce the flat glass. Then the mix and the melting, where you give the form and the special properties of the glass. The forming station and laying. In this stage where the techniques gives special properties that correct some imperfections in the glass. The cutting, grinding and polishing, where you give the special dimensions of the glass, and the inspection and testing and the back.
Well, then, before you continue, can you just tell us, you said flat glass. I'm not sure everyone understands the real meaning. Just maybe very quickly, what do you mean by flat exactly?
Is like the picture, sheets of glass that are used in the...
It's mainly glass used for tables, windows.
Okay.
Kind of.
Okay, perfect.
We want to differentiate that from the bottles or something like that.
Okay, perfect.
Because it's a different process.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
About the general process in this, first we have the raw materials that are burning in the melting furnace, where you do the mix of the glass. Then you pass to the glass forming that are by the damping is putting in some forming stage to give some forms. Then the nailing to correct some imperfects, and the inspection and testing, where you discrete the perfect and the imperfect glass. That the imperfect you return to the first step to be recycled. Then the packing and storage the products. About the raw materials, we have four main materials. First we have the sand, that is the silicon dioxide. Usually is found in form of quartz. Then the limestone, that is the sodium carbonate. The cullet, that is the recycled glass that I told you after. The soda ash, that is the sodium carbonate. And about the melting process, we have the cullet, that is the recycled glass, and the raw materials that are stored in some special bins to give some proportion melting of the materials to give some properties for the glass. Then the mixture, that is when you have the mix complete, you return this mix in the furnace sphere, that where you give some special forms for the glass.
Okay. Then, when you get the melted glass, you need to become the melted glass into sheets of flat glass. So there are basically three techniques. The first one is floating, that is based on in fluids, if you have a fluid with lower density, it will float over like one with higher density. So the idea is to create like a bath with melted metal, for example tin, that is the most common metal that you use. And what you do is you draw the glass over it, and it spreads in the certain shape that you want. In this case, the flat glass. So that way, you create like glass that is virgin, because you are not touching the glass. It has one side is with air, and the other side is with the melted metal. So you won't need polishing or grinding after it. The other technique is called drawing. It's basically what you do is you pass the melted glass through rollers and you create the flat glass. In this stage, like you're touching the glass with the rollers, you will need extra polishing and grinding of the surface. And the other one is rolling, that is basically the same as in drawing, but horizontal, and you will create the same. You will need polishing after that. An extra stage that is common for the three techniques is annealing. And it's basically what you do in annealing is improve the properties of the glass, because maybe after you do the heating of the glass and then the cooling, you create like a surface that is not homogeneous, and you create like little spaces in the glass, and those become like stress concentrators, and then you will have like a lower resistance of the glass. So the process basically is take the glass to the annealing temperature in a furnace. You take that temperature for a while, and then you let it cool like very slow. So what you become is you get a glass that is stronger, per se, something like that. Then, in some stage, you will need to cut the glass, because you will need to produce like, well, normally in the industry is like 2 meters per 2 meters flat glass sheets. So there are like 4 main techniques. One is a steel glass cutter, that you just cut the glass with a cutter that is made from, well, not just steel, but some metal. It can be done manually, or you can attach that cutter to a software or some CNC techniques. The same is with the diamond glass, that is like a little bit more sophisticated. And those two will need grinding and polishing after that, because it's not like perfect done. Then you have the other technique that is the most common, is the laser glass cutter, that is that with a machine, and you can get like more difficult shapes. And the other one is like the newest technique, that is jet glass cutter, and it's just, you cut it with a gun that shoots water.
Wow.
That's basically what it does. So the first two will need grinding, and the other two will need no grinding. Well, that depends on the manufacturer criteria. So the grinding basically is done to protect the customer, to protect the client, because there are some irregularities, and you can cut yourself with the glass or something like that. So what you do is, you with a belt of a certain material, you homogeneous the edges and become like a softer surface for the customer. And then this is more like for an optical floss, or maybe for the surface, not for the edge, but for the surface. And you do polishing with a wheel, and you use serine oxide.
Finally, when we have the products finished, all products need to have an inspection and testing stage, where all products have a resistance test, and when the test is finished, all products classified by the imperfect and perfect products, and when the products don't pass the test, it becomes to that imperfect products become to a recycled in the first step, and then the packing and check.
Okay. All right, questions. I have at least a couple. Is this carried out at a large scale here in Colombia? And if so, where would it be?
Yeah, in Colombia there are like manufacture of flat glass.
Okay.
But the problem with the flat glass is that because of the raw materials are not like homogeneous, you have to be really careful with the process. So some people in the Colombian industry don't like Colombian flat glass.
Okay.
Because you have to have some quality.
Okay. My second question, you might have done this with the annealing, I'm not sure. But we know about metals or even one kind of metal like steel. We have different kinds, high carbon, stainless, etc. Glass, I think a lot of people think of it as just being homogeneous, but of course it's not. What factors go in to determine the strength other than the thickness? What characteristics in the processing make it stronger?
Yeah, the main, like the raw materials are the essence of the glass, because you have different formulas. So if you add like 1% more of sand, it's another different glass,
Okay.
and that's what happens. And there are not just those raw materials. You have stabilizers or something, another raw materials that change completely the glass.
Okay. All right. Okay. Other questions on the flat glass production process? No? Okay. Thank you very much, John.